Maiden Speech, Dave Robertson.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Can I thank honourable members who've made their first speeches today for setting the bar just so high. I hope I can live up to the standard that they've set. I'm sent to this place by the constituents of Lichfield, a constituency which of course includes not only the city itself, but also the town of Burntwood and around 40 villages and hamlets in the great county of Staffordshire. I'm proud to serve the area which has been my home since before I knew to call anywhere home, and where I hope it will be for many, many more years to come. My predecessor in this House was Sir Michael Fabricant, knighted in 2023 for political and public service after more than 30 years representing first the constituency of Mid Staffordshire and then Lichfield in this House. 32 years in total Sir Michael served, and I think that would be a number which we would all aspire to. Yeah. Should I be fortunate enough to be here in 30 years' time, Madam Deputy Speaker, I can only hope to have such a head of hair. It is, however, to longevity that I wish to turn now, Madam Deputy Speaker, and although I have received advice from some colleagues not to mention the Doomsday Book, I can neatly sidestep that, as the recorded history of my constituency dates back some 1,000 years before William the Conqueror to the Roman invasion and the establishment of Litositum, a Roman fort near, and later settlement near the crossroads of Watling Street and Ricknell Street, which is in my constituency. The crossing of those two roads remained an important place throughout the Roman and Saxon periods, and in the 7th century, Chad of Mercia established a cathedral and diocese in Lichfield, which still exists today. And in just over a week's time, I will be proud to be in attendance at the installation of, I think, the 58th Dean of Lichfield Cathedral. The Right Reverend Jan McFarlane will be the first woman to hold that post and will not only smash a glass ceiling, but will be an excellent advocate for the cathedral and the church in the local community and beyond. The 7th century is also noteworthy for the burying of the Staffordshire hoard, which was uncovered in Hammerwich in my constituency in 2009 near that same crossroads of Watling Street and Ricknell Street. The largest collection of Anglo-Saxon gold ever found, the hoard is already and will continue to have a significant impact on our understanding of the peoples of these isles before there was an England, a Scotland, a Wales or a Northern Ireland. Moving on from the 7th century, over the coming years, the city would continue to flourish and establish itself as a religious and ecumenical centre, although much of the area surrounding it maintained its rural and agrarian aspect for many centuries to come. In this time, the area did produce innumerable great lives, and while they are far too numerous to mention all of them here, I should note Gregory King, the world's first economic statistician, Elias Ashmole, whose collections founded the Ashmolean Museum, the first of its type in the UK, David Garrick, the noted theatre innovator and manager, the physician Erasmus Darwin, a founding member of the Lunar Society, who had a rather famous grandson, the poet Anna Seward, Thomas Gisborne of Yoxall Lodge, who was an abolitionist and a close associate of William Wilberforce, the painter John Lewis Pettit, who's having a wonderful renaissance in the understanding of his work, Frederick Oakley, who translated the words to "O come all ye faithful," right there in Lichfield Cathedral, and of course Samuel Johnson, a man of letters and the author of the first dictionary of the English language. Carrying on to his heir, Samuel Barber, a freed slave who would go on to run a school in Burntwood, decades before Tom Jenkins would begin teaching in Teviot Head in Scotland, and who would also serve as a dozener in local government in Lichfield and become almost certainly the first black man to serve in local government in the UK. Before I move on from some famous people from around the area, I should mention a local success story in Sophie Catewell. Lichfield's Golden Girl brought home not just a gold medal from Paris recently, but also a world record as part of Team GB's fantastic games. In doing so, she ended my reign as the most successful former pupil of my old school, Netherstowe in Lichfield. And although I'd hoped to hold that title a little longer than 32 days, I am happy to be disappointed on that point. If I return to my historical tour of Lichfield and its surrounding area, we reach the early and mid-19th century, when the town of Burntwood, a conurbation of mining villages that grew up some 4 miles from Lichfield, and has a similarly proud history. Its most notable resident was the fundraiser and campaigner Stephen Sutton, who raised millions for the Teenage Cancer Trust, despite his diagnosis and loss far too soon at the age of just 19. Made an MBE for his fundraising, it is more than fitting that Burntwood Town Council remembers him through a student award named in his honour. Not to be outshone by the cathedral down the road, Burntwood also took its place in ecclesiastical history when, in 1883, St Anne's Church in Chasetown became the first in the country to have electric lighting. Today still, the people of Burntwood maintain a close-knit community typical of former mining areas, and it's really shown by the great examples of Spark Cafe and Burntwood Be a Friend, who've done so much to step in to replace services cut during 14 long years of Conservative government. Although if we are discussing Burntwood, we really can't forget the giant-killing exploits of Chasetown FC in the FA Cup of 2007 and 2008, and at some point I will forgive the members for Cardiff. Burntwood, however, is not the only part of my constituency that has a mining history. The village of Handsacre also more than played its part in powering the industry of the 19th and 20th centuries. And it's also the village where my old man taught his first lessons as a probationary teacher in the 1970s. The suggestion that his Geordie accent was in part responsible for his hiring in a school built to teach the children of new arrivals from the northeast remain suspected, if unconfirmed. But mining was not the only industry that found its way to my part of Staffordshire. Many of us will also recognise the name Armitage Shanks, but few will know its link to the village of Armitage, just a short trip up Rugeley Road from Handsacre. And as the new government focuses its legislative agenda on growth, I would remind colleagues that while many of us may have already spent a penny with Armitage Shanks, you are all welcome to visit and spend many more in the coming years. All of this industry, of course, meant that the canals came to my constituency. The Coventry and Trent and Mersey canals are still navigable today, and the work of Lichfield and Hatherton Canal Restoration Trust should be commended as it aims to restore this link as a green and blue way in the coming years. Although, as I now touch back on transport, I'd like to complete the circle and return to that crossroads which made Lettosserton. Watling Street, or the A5 as it's now known, and Ricknell Street, the A38, are major transport arteries that link my constituency both together and easily to the rest of the country. The A38 particularly has helped establish a logistics centre in a village of Fradley on the site of former RAF Lichfield. Fans of BBC's Bargain Hunt will know Fradley well, given the regular appearances of Richard Winterton and Winterton's auctioneers on that show. I do hope that I can get quite as much airtime as they do. Slightly further up the A38, you will find the National Memorial Arboretum near Albury was. A wonderful venue as the site of national remembrance. I would advise every single person to make a visit there to remember. Not just in November, but on any day. I'm sure that in the coming months, the Secretary of State for Transport will grow tired of my lobbying about the need for a railway station to serve that amazing location. On a very dissimilar note, the first travel lodge in the UK was opened up slightly up the road some 39 years ago, near to the village of Barton under Needwood. Although that village should be much better remembered as the home of the Holland tug-of-war team. Founded in 1970, the team has represented England at numerous international tournaments and even brought home a silver medal from the 2010 World Open Championships. It is this constituency that I return during this recess, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I look forward to speaking to them about transport, about access to healthcare, about education healthcare plans and many other issues that are on the lips of my constituents. I look forward to bringing those stories back to this place so that I can continue to advocate on their behalf. Thank you. Yeah.